Hello everyone, today is 4th of November. Now it's about 9 o'clock in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Later on today, in the evening, I will publish on my Patreon and Boosty pages second news update with all the additional news that Russian media will report about during the day. Main news, obviously. That being said, let's start this update. And first of all, short summary on the situation on Ukrainian battlefield, and I have a few big updates, I will say. And first of all, South Donetsk sector again, where recently Russian armed forces were conducting sectoral scale offensive operations, quite successful one, as a result of which significant number of settlements were liberated, and we have an update on that. According to latest reports, Elizavetovka settlement, by the way, become under full Russian control. I was predicting that this is going to happen in relatively short time, and that's exactly the case. So some sources, by the way, are already reporting that Elizavetovka is under full Russian control, and I expect in next several days Ilinka and Antonovka to become under full Russian control. Also, Russian troops right now are conducting operations in the vicinity of these settlements. The RG is probably operating inside the settlements also. Russian Defense Ministry did not yet confirm information about Elizavetovka. Probably we will receive that confirmation in a couple of days time. And also Russian troops are conducting operations towards Uspianovka settlement, and if Russian troops will establish control over this settlement, as you can see, dear friends, a significant number of Kiev regime's forces in villages Romanovka, Vishnevoye Guy, Anovka, also Ilinka and Antonovka will be encircled. Entire this area will be basically encircled by Russian troops, and I expect this artillery pocket to become under full Russian control and front line to be strengthened, possibly even before end of this week. But this is not all. Also, according to Russian media reports, Russian armed forces established full control over the Vishnevoye settlement, and this information is confirmed by Russian Defense Ministry. I reported about progress of the Russian armed forces in Vishnevoye direction almost the same time when I reported about liberation of Selidovo settlement, and the Russian Defense Ministry, being conservative institution, just now reporting about liberation of this town, this village. Also, dear friends, some military experts are expressing predictions, are sharing predictions that are probably, according to them, in next couple of days, maybe a week or two, we will see sectoral scale offensive operation in Chisov Yar direction due to significant progress of the Russian armed forces on the flanks, on the northern and southern flanks of Chisov Yar. And if you take a look at the map, dear friends, this is Chisov Yar, and it is kind of in operational encirclement. Of course, Kiev regime's forces still have roads of communication with the rest of the Kiev controlled territory, but situation for garrison in Chisov Yar excuse me, definitely it become more and more difficult. Russian troops are further improving positions on other sectors of the front line. Seversk direction, reports are coming in about activization of the Russian troops on southern flanks of Seversk direction. Also, Russian troops further improving positions in Kupiansk sector, and latest reports are that Russian troops already conducting cleaning operation inside the Terny settlement on southern flank of Kupiansk sector, and if that's the case, probably in next couple of days we will receive information that Terny and Yampolovka settlements are also under Russian control. Simultaneously, Russian troops also further advancing on southern flank of Kupiansk sector in Pishchane Kruglyakivka areas, and they're widening territory that is already under Russian control. As you can see, dear friends, this gray area is approximately the territory that become under Russian control in previous 12 to 24, 48 hours. I expect battles to begin for Kupiansk itself also in relatively short time, and when it comes to Suja, when it comes to Kursk salient area, main operations are taking place around Suja. Kiev regime's formations lost control over the dozens of settlements that they managed to initially occupy in this part of Kursk region. And well, even though North Korean troops nowhere to be seen, that Western propaganda loves to talk about, Russian troops were improving their positions in a vicinity of Suja and surrounding areas, and there are more and more settlements are liberated as time goes by. Initiative is in Russian hands, and of course, main developments, as far as I understand, main developments are still happening on South Donetsk sector of the front line and Pokrovsk sector. Liberation of Elizavetovka, it is a big deal, obviously, and I expect before end of this week, by the way, Kurakhova, main stronghold of the Kiev regime on Pokrovsk, southern flank of Pokrovsk sector, this town. I expect Kurakhova to become under full Russian control also. It is now divided about 50-50 between the sides. And this is it when it comes to short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. Of course, if you are interested in more detailed analysis of the battles and changes on the map during the previous 12 to 24 hours, I recommend military channels for that. They provide a great volume of information, obviously. And if by chance you are not familiar with military channels from alternative media, under this video in description box, you will see a list of channels, great channels that I follow, dear friends, and you can see there are at least several links to several military channels also. Let's continue now with some more news, and this is TASS News Agency's report with the confirmation that Vishnevoye is under full Russian control now. Confirmation comes from Russian Defense Ministry, as I already stated. Also, TASS News Agency is reporting that Russian armed forces encircled significant number of Kiev regime troops in Terny area. As I said, Russian troops are conducting clearing operation in Terny direction, inside the Terny at this point. And maybe even today we will receive an additional update that Terny is under full Russian control now, and somewhere in vicinity of Terny, significant number of Kiev regime troops being encircled. This was reported, this information was shared with TASS News Agency by security forces. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting that according to pro-Russian underground or pro-Russian partisans in Kiev-controlled territory, as a result of a Russian long-range precise strike in Izmail direction, which is Odessa region also, of course. After this strike from Romania, emergency, helicopters were flown in to Kiev-controlled territory of Odessa region to evacuate some wounded personnel. And because we are talking about NATO country in case of Romania, I guess as a result of this strike, significant number of foreign officers, NATO officers and military personnel was neutralized, and whoever managed to survive the strike was evacuated by Romanian emergency services or possibly militaries. And Izmail is, just to know where geographically it's located, it's on the border with Romania. This is Odessa region, of course, and Izmail is located on the Danube River. This is the Izmail, by the way. This is Danube River here. And on one side is this former Soviet Republic, Ukraine. On the other side is Romania. And this is the area where Russian troops conducted this long-range precise strike on some military and logistics infrastructure of the Kiev regime. No precise information what exactly was targeted, but yet again, because Romania get involved and in evacuation of wounded personnel, I guess it was NATO stuff. Otherwise, I don't think Romanian militaries will care too much about casualties among Kiev regime's military personnel. Also, dear friends, TASS news agency is reporting that according to military expert from LPR, Andrei Marochko, many members of our community are familiar with this military expert. In October, as a result of battles in and around LPR, Kyiv regime lost about 53,000 military personnel. Basically, he's talking about clashes on the border with the LPR, administrative border with the LPR, and in the DPR, battles in DPR. Huge losses on side of Kyiv regime. Andrei Marochko, of course, well informed, well connected, and therefore I have no reason to doubt these numbers that he is providing. So, according to him, Kyiv regime lost more than about 53,000 military personnel in October. Also, 746 different type of autocars, motor cars, 365 armored vehicles, 61 tanks, 12 multi-launch rocket systems, 499 pieces of field artillery, 114 stations of the radio electronic warfare and counter battery warfare, and 169 field munition depots. So significant losses on part of Kyiv regime, undoubtedly. Although at this point I don't think anybody is really surprised by these numbers, because according to Russian Defense Ministry's report, daily losses on part of Kyiv regime is around 2,000 military personnel, quite often significantly higher than that. Also, Kommersant newspaper is reporting that Australia transferred to Kyiv regime JDAM-ER glide bombs. This was reported by Australian Defense magazine. Earlier, this type of bombs, aerial bombs, were delivered to Kyiv regime by US, and now Australia is getting involved. These bombs, MK82 type bombs, were retired by Australian Defense Ministry, and they were sent to Kyiv regime. These bombs are like Russian FAB 250, by the way. You know, they're quite powerful ones. I mean, 230 kilograms of bomb is a powerful one, obviously, but of course nowhere near to Russian FAB 500, FAB 1500, or FAB 3000. And what is also important, these bombs are aerial launch bombs, right? Glide bombs. And at this point, Kyiv regime basically clearly is suffered so much losses when it comes to Air Force that I really doubt that they still have enough planes to effectively use these bombs. Although it is unfortunate that Australia is getting involved in this proxy war against Russia more and more as time goes by. Earlier, I reported that Australian government made decision to transfer to Kyiv regime retired M1A1 Abrams tanks, some 48 or 49 of them, if I remember correctly, which is also unfortunate. I mean, why Canberra is acting this way? Where is the interest of Australian people in all of this? I don't see any, but Australian leadership being puppets of their Western ruling class, they do whatever they are ordered, I guess. That's it. They have no care about Australians and interests of Australia. Kommersant newspaper is also reporting that since the beginning of this year, more than 3,000 foreigners that participate in special military operation received Russian citizenship. These people joined Russian military, undergo training, went to the front line, fought for Russia, or risked their lives for Russia and the interests of security of the Russian Federation, and obviously they deserve to become a Russian citizen. No citizens, no questions about that. And I guess this number will continue to increase as long as the special military operation continues, and as long as the Western ruling class will not stop this proxy war against Russia. Also, dear friends, RT is reporting that pro-EU president declares victory in highly contentious elections in Moldova. So Moldova's incumbent pro-EU president, Maia Sandu, Western asset basically, declared the victory in Sunday's runoff election after official tally revealed her 10 points lead over former Prosecutor General Alexander Stoyanoglu. With over 98% of the ballots counted, Sandu has received 55.03% of the votes, while Stoyanoglu received 44.97% of the votes. News channel TVR reported in the early hours of Sunday, citing the Central Electoral Commission. Well, no surprises here, dear friends, no surprises. This Western-controlled regime did whatever it takes to manipulate with the data. As before, during the first tour of presidential elections, they send only, for example, 10,000 ballots in Moscow for citizens of Moldova that would like to vote in these elections. And approximately, according to reports that I read, right now in Russia, there are approximately from 350 to 500,000 citizens of Moldova, right? And only 10,000 ballots were sent. I mean, you tell me, if this is not an attempt to influence elections, then what this is, right? Nothing to be said about all the fraud that was conducted inside the Moldova itself. And well, I guess Moscow will not recognize these elections. Moscow should not recognize these results and these elections as a legit. That's my personal opinion, because it's not. It's not a majority of citizens of Moldova are against this Western puppet, Maia Sandu. And if West will manage to keep her in office, that will be yet another indicator that my prediction about Moldova is correct, and this former Soviet Republic will not survive as a quasi-state on the political map for more than, let's say, another 3 to 5 years, and that's it. Moldova will be divided. And one part will join Romania eventually, and another part will try to go fully independent, or will join Russia. We will see. But Moldova, as it is right now, definitely will not last long on the political map. It's just not possible. Society there is too divided. About half sees themselves as Romanians and want to be part of Romania. Another half see themselves non-Romanians. They have a significant part in this anti-EU, anti-NATO population is Gagauz people, Russians, people that see themselves Moldavians but not the Romanians, and they want closer tie with Russia. So divide is very strong, and therefore I just don't see how Moldova can survive as a state on the political map. Give it another 3 to 5 years, that's gonna be it. And dear friends, before I continue, let me notice, if I may, that this small media project of mine with several channels on YouTube, Rumble, Telegram is completely subscriber funded. And I will be immensely grateful if you will consider to support my work, if you like my channels, obviously, and if you want to see further development of this project. So, I mean, you can support with donations through PayPal or Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. By the way, this is Patreon page of mine where I have like 200 or 300 if not more videos, by the way, not just news updates, but also videos about just about life in Russia. And today I will finalize previous week's episode of behind the scenes, and I will publish it. It's an entertaining video basically, and I have some plans to introduce additional programming to my Patreon page, and hopefully community will find it interesting. So yes, all the links, dear friends, are on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. Right now our community on Patreon is 172 members, and well, I really hope we will manage to reach 200 before end of this year. As I said, links are on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. TASS news agency is reporting that Turkey sent a letter to UN and basically demanded weapons embargo to be imposed on Israel. Document was supported by 50 countries worldwide, according to Hakan Fidan, foreign minister of Turkey. Well, maybe majority of this world is in support of this kind of decision, but it's not gonna I don't think UN is going to impose on Israel anything really. And even if UN will try, of course any such initiative will be blocked by US, UK and France, permanent members of the UN Security Council that have a veto right, so they will veto it straight away. TASS news agency is reporting that Foreign Ministry of Egypt come up with an initiative to unite Palestinian territories under their governance of their let me translate, by the way, this at least this sentence. And the governors of so Palestinian territories in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip should be considered as a part of a single entity in preparations for the establishment of their state of Palestine. The statement was made by Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdel in a telephone conversation with the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and according to him, these territories should be governed by authorities from the West Bank. As far as I understand, it is necessary to expand the capabilities of the Palestinian National Authority, PA, and consider the West Bank and Gaza as a part of a single Palestinian territory in order to prepare for the end of the occupation and the establishment of independent Palestinian state, Abdel Attah said, as quoted by the Egyptian Foreign Ministry in a press release. The Egyptian Foreign Minister also stressed that his country categorically rejects and condemns Israel's measures that hinder the work of the UN Relief and Work Agency for Palestinian refugees in the Near East, UNRWA. And when it comes to this organization, Israel is already banned, I believe, this organization to work in Israel. It's official kind of. So in idea, that can be the solution. Obviously, authorities in the West Bank might and possibly should take control and take responsibility for Gaza Strip also, and form local governing bodies. Although, will Israel allow this to happen? As far as I understand, there certain groups in Israel have plans to move to force basically all the Palestinians from Gaza Strip out of the region, and then to permanently occupy that territory and integrate it into Israel. So therefore, such initiatives can be seen as understandable ones, at least by world community, but I have some doubts that Israel will allow this to happen. I don't know. Time will tell, isn't it? Also, TASS news agency is reporting that, according to Wall Street Journal's sources, Iran might use a regular army also in the next retaliatory strike on Israel, which is, according to some reports, is like inevitable or imminent. I have some doubts about this. Unfortunately, last couple of days we see this escalatory spiral, kind of, when media outlets from different parts of this world are reporting about possible Iranian strike on Israel as a retaliation for a recent Israeli strike on Iran. Some high-ranking officials inside Iran, including from IRGC, also made statements about a possible retaliatory strike. And now this report that Iran may, this strike from Iran may be conducted not just by IRGC, but also by regular forces, because during the Israeli strike, regular civilians were killed in Iran, and also members of the regular military. So they will have their revenge, as far as I understand, if they will participate in such a strike. And also reports are coming in that Iran may deploy this time much more powerful weapon systems to strike Israel than during the previous retaliatory strike. Much more capable warheads and missiles that are equipped with these powerful warheads may be used. My hope is that sides will de-escalate. My hope is that there will be no additional strikes or exchange of strikes between Israel and Iran. But unfortunately, we are seeing on daily basis, isn't it, that this escalation is gaining momentum, and this topic itself, and maybe we and the entire world is about to see yet another spiral of escalation between Israel and Iran. And eventually, I'm afraid, if it goes this way, I'm afraid Western ruling class will manage to achieve what their goal is in the Middle East, which is to disrupt navigation in the Persian Gulf, in my personal opinion, and through Hormuz Strait, and cut off China from Middle Eastern energy sources. So therefore, I think everybody understands that there are huge risks of regional war, and I believe Moscow, New Delhi, Beijing, other capitals from friendly nations towards Iran will do their best to persuade Iranian leadership to not be intrigued by Western ruling class, because obviously Israel will use any Iranian attack as an excuse to conduct additional retaliatory strikes, and eventually, if these two countries will continue to strike each other every other week, then eventually they're going to provoke regional war, right? And that's exactly what Western ruling class wants. So, in my opinion, it would be better, strategically speaking, if Tehran will exercise restraint. And they will probably. Let's see. I'm still skeptical that Iran will strike back on Israel now, but if Israel will we will conduct additional strikes on Iran, then gloves are off. Probably Moscow, New Delhi, Beijing, or any other capital would not be able. No other capital will be able to persuade Iran to not escalate. let's continue with some more news. And well, Interfax is reporting that B-52s, US Air Force's B-52s are already in Middle East. Several of them landed in Qatar, I believe. And also US is deploying, and I reported about these plans of Washington or Pentagon to deploy additional forces, including strategic bombers, to Middle East. Also, earlier I was reporting that US already increased their presence of its fighter fleet into Middle East. F-16s, F-15s were deployed, also A-10s, by the way, and A-10s. I mean, at the time I argued that if F-16s and F-15s can be understood because they can be used as kind of platforms for intercepting their missiles, A-10s are ground attack planes, right? So when A-10s were deployed, that was a warning signal, right? And now B-52s that can carry a significant number of long-range cruise missiles, right? And launch it simultaneously without reaching basically areas where air defense systems of their opposite side is active, right? So US is also getting ready for something for escalation, obviously, and well, I hope somehow region will manage to avoid all-out war there, because it's going to be devastation not just for Middle East but also for the rest of the world. That's for sure. And also, dear friend, it's not just our Air Force, but it's also Navy and ground forces that are increasing their presence in the Middle East when it comes to US military. Kommersant newspaper is reporting that South Korea, US, and Japan conducted their military exercises in response to recent test launch of their ICBM by North Korea. And according to some reports, that recent launch of ICBM was record-breaking in a sense because it demonstrated that North Korea has missiles that can be considered intercontinental, because it is the case, right? And in these exercises, US deployed strategical bombers, B-1B strategical bombers, at least one of them, and of course, Pyongyang is monitoring, and well, I guess we will see some answer from North Korea on these exercises, and tit for tat. I mean, that's what always happens, by the way. Western ruling class is provoking one side or another for reactions, right? And then uses that reaction or countermeasure as justification for further escalation. That's always the case, right? Always. That's tactics that Western ruling classes employs. RIA Novosti is reporting that, according to some data, by the way, some research conducted in US, Trump is leading, former and possibly future president of US is leading in swing states of US, leading in some cases just a little bit. This was reported by Atlas Intel, a company, research company. Let's go through this news for a little more detail. So, former US president and Republican candidate for their upcoming elections, presidential elections, Donald Trump, is leading in swing states, according to research company Atlas Intel. According to one poll, the former head of state is at least 1 percentage point ahead of his rival Kamala Harris in every swing state. The largest Republican margin is observed in Arizona, 6.8 percentage point, and Nevada, 5.5 percentage point. The smallest in Wisconsin, 1.3 point. 1.3, and Michigan 1.5, and Pennsylvania 1.7. Harris also lags by 1.8 percentage points in Georgia and 3.6 percentage point in North Carolina. Well, interesting numbers, but by the way, when it's like 1 point something, 2 point something, even 3 point, that not necessarily means much, because this is margin of error, right? So these swing states may go either way. We will find out tomorrow, day after, right? In next 24 to 48 hours, we will know for sure. And obviously, next couple of days, world's attention will be focused on US presidential elections. Understandably so. After all, we are talking about a major superpower in this world. And of course, Russian media, Russian politicians also pay attention to presidential elections in US. And for example, former Russian president and maybe future Russian president, who knows, Dmitry Medvedev, current deputy chairman of the Security Council, during his recent interview with RT, spoke about US and the relationships between Russia and US and the elections and so on. And he wrote on his Telegram also that Donald Trump, if he will try to stop this proxy war against Russia, if he will try to de-escalate and stop this conflict in Ukraine, he may share fate of the JFK, because certain forces will not allow him to do so. And he has a point, I think. Medvedev definitely has a point. Kennedy was also pushing some narratives, some policies that was not popular among militaries, among intelligence communities, and he was taken out, right? And if Trump will really try to, to act independent, basically, and de-escalate with Russia, try to find ways to improve relationships with Russia, so that maybe through Russia, Washington will gain some influence over Beijing or something. Well, this may not go down well with deep state in US, isn't it? And I mean, some groups already try to kill, isn't it, Trump? So he's under constant threat. Definitely Medvedev has a point there. And he also said that there should be no high expectations in Russia about presidential elections in US, because no matter who will win elections, I mean, let me translate. No matter who will win elections, no much will probably change. And I agree with this assessment. Because even if Trump and his administration will try to really influence these established policies of the deep state, well, they're gonna end up in trouble, right? And I guess deep state has enough. This deep state intelligence community, these multinational corporations that are pulling the strings, they have, significant enough influence over their Senate, over the Congress. Probably they will have some people inside the Trump's inner circle itself, inside the Trump's administration. So they will have enough tools to make sure that they are not challenged. So Deputy Chairman of the Russian Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, warned against her high expectations from the results of the US presidential election, which will be held on November 5th. We have no reason for any inflated expectations. For Russia, the elections will not change anything, since the positions of their candidates fully reflect their bipartisan consensus on the need to defeat our country, their politician said in his Telegram channel. Therefore, the best way to make November 5th pleasant for candidates for their highest American post is to continue to smash the Kiev Nazi regime. That's the approach of Medvedev, and yeah, I mean, if you ask me personally, will approaches of US will change, or policies of US in regards to Russia or Europe or any other region in this world, in case of Kamala winning elections or in case of Trump winning elections? I don't know. I cannot give you an answer because as I said many times before, last 4 years, I mean, entire this Biden's administration period or time frame was demonstrating day in, day out that there are certain groups in US that are pulling the string, because Biden was not in a place to make any decisions really, and he's still not in that place, right? And I guess will never be at this point. So someone was making decisions, right? Or someone's, and those people not gonna go away. Those people gonna stay in position of power, no matter it's Kamala Harris is the next president or Donald Trump. There may be some changes in terms of internal policies, right? There may be some, and probably will be some differences in terms of internal policies, because after all, neo-libs, Democrats, and Republicans have different approaches, at least to a number of topics: border issue, this migration issue, abortion issue, and there number of others, right? But when it comes to foreign policy of US, I don't think anything will change really that much. We will find out. We will find out soon. I want to see the escalation though. I really want to see the escalation, because I mean, what the hell, man? Why those so-called elites in the West were so stupid that they created this, they provoked this confrontation with Russia, man? Why? I mean, I don't know. It does not make no sense, by the way, in long term, right? But Commerçant newspaper is reporting that Taiwanese government is claiming that they stop any exports of equipment to the Russian Federation, equipment for manufacturing plants. So the Ministry of Economy of Taiwan announced that their number of machine tools exported to Russia was reduced to 0 after their introduction of the export control measures. The agency promised that it will continue to adjust export control measures and assist manufacturers to control their final flow of products or supplies. So Taiwanese government is clearly demonstrating their anti-Russian stance. They want to please Washington as much as they can, okay. But I mean, this sword has a double edge, isn't it? And I don't think Taiwanese leadership is in position to create more and more enemies, especially in Moscow, by the way. Are they suicidal, or what the hell is wrong with them, man? Moscow can assist China in ways as a response of hostilities from Taiwan. Moscow can assist China in ways that Taiwanese stupid leaders will never think of, first of all, and then will regret for the rest of their lives when time comes. So they are just stupid prostitutes of the Washington, by the way. That's all these Taiwanese so-called leaders are, man. Fucking all of them, right? Taiwan is China. Taiwanese are Chinese people. That's it. And whoever in Taiwan says otherwise, and whoever is trying to drive this edge between Taiwan and the mainland China, they are just traitors, basically. That's what they are. I mean, let's be real here. They are traitors. They are working for Washington, and they're basically sacrificing Taiwanese as a rescue regime sacrificed citizens of Ukraine, right? In this proxy war against Russia. And if people in Taiwan did not wake up, if the example of Ukraine was not enough for them, then I don't know, man. I don't know. They should wake up and realize that if they did not make some crucial changes in their lives, including political life, then Washington will sacrifice Taiwan and Taiwanese in the very same way that they sacrifice former Soviet Republic, Ukraine, and the citizens of that republic. It's just very simple, isn't it? It's not some quantum physics, for God's sake, not to understand. Interfax is reporting that OPEC plus countries made decision to prolong reduction of the oil production for 2.2 million barrels a day before end of this year to stabilize prices on the oil market and maintain prices on a level that is preferable or acceptable for oil producing nations, oil exporting nations. And well, I guess due to this decision, oil prices will, at least on Brent, and therefore on Urals, will be about like 70, 75 up to 80, between 70, 75 most likely, plus minus couple of dollars for a barrel before end of this year, and we will see next year. Of course, many things are depend on situation in the Middle East. If Western ruling class will manage to provoke regional war there, then we are talking about hundreds of dollars for a barrel, not 70 or 80, hundreds. And that will be devastation, as I said, not just for a region itself and regional economy, but for world economy. But Western ruling class don't care about it. All they want is to cut off China from Middle Eastern energy sources, and that's why they are pushing Middle East towards the regional war by using their proxies. Anyways, dear friends, this is it for now. Relatively long update. Maybe I should cut really these updates in two halves. Okay, I will find out the ways to make these updates a bit shorter. But I mean, dear friends, you tell me if any news that I reported today or spoke about today was not interesting or not important. I am choosing this news from 100 others, right? And when I'm planning program, I think, you know what, I can of course get rid of this news and this news and this news and make updates shorter, but these news are interesting, you know, and playing significant role in my understanding to have a better reading of the big picture. But anyways, hopefully you will find this update interesting, informative. I hope there was no sound issues, by the way. I hope there was no sound issues, sir. Well, if you like this video, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything, any topic. Or this is the only way, as you know, to at least try and influence algorithm. And yes, if you like my work, if you want to see further development of this small media project of mine, you can support. All the links are on this video description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.